Hello! Welcome to Drakenmemoria. For those of you wondering what this is, well, it's Dungeons and Dragons, or more specifically, a group of people playing Dungeons and Dragons. So if this is not something you want to watch, well, we're so very sorry, but we're not changing our schedule. You have suggestion on the right or the left, depending on where you're watching this. We strongly invite you to take a look at those. For everyone else, well, almost, there's always a few exceptions. But for almost everyone else, it's a pleasure to have you with us. For those who are coming back from a previous session, it's a pleasure to have you back. For those who are new, it's a pleasure to have you with us for the very first time. We might actually have a few new viewers today because last rebroadcast was the most popular ever so far. Nearly as good as a regular episode. So, who knows? Maybe some people decided to come watch us live. Or maybe you're still going to watch the rebroadcast. In that case, well, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you with us. It's exactly the same message.
It's almost like it's rebroadcast. Like,
yeah, it's so weird. For me, every time I just press play, it's like deja vu. It's so weird. Alright, so.
Video playback is time travel.
That must be it. Yeah.
That explains everything.
Absolutely. As long as you don't change anything, time travel works pretty well. Alright. So. Well, small channel. We don't have any sponsors, so we don't have to showcase anything. If you like the crackling fire, ambient music, there's a link below. Hopefully, Chaotic Calling is going to be joining us later on. Again, link below. And if your name is linked below, well, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you with us. It's the first time that we actually get to see you. It's actually a good name, if you want to call yourself like this. Link below. Everyone is always going to be referring at you, or also, it's not me. It's also a really good handle.
Another very popular name that might get you a lot of attention is Beyonce by Beyblade.
All right. So, before we start a controversy, let's get this episode started. All right. So, what happened last episode? Oh, yeah, that's right. I have my trusty recap from what I post on D&D Beyond. I keep forgetting about those. All right. So, last episode. The party patrolled the deserted fishing village of Ran in hope of finding clues of what was happening. Just in case you don't remember, Ran was covered in a seemingly perpetual blizzard. Which was weird, and why a druid was called there. And why Jorg, also a druid, decided to help a fellow druid and do what he was born to do. Help nature. So, with a little bit of luck and a lot of note searching, they were able to find a way to gather information. They get a few suggestions on how to resolve the problem. With the new information they had at hand and a new friend, which was name against its will. They attacked the problem a bit recklessly, but nevertheless, they ventured onto the frozen ocean, and well, part of the ocean, not the entire ocean, but the frozen ocean terrain, and confronted an ice swimmer, also known as a Rakshin in our small universe. I'm gonna give you a spoiler. They didn't die. I know some of you are disappointed, but you know it happens. My father always does that. Every time Titanic plays on television, he just goes and says, "I'm gonna give you a huge spoiler. The ship sinks at the end." No. So yeah, they survived. They composed themselves. Audience for, I don't know, maybe only 5 or 6th time in his career was actually injured during the fight. Doesn't happen often, but it does. It does happen. But once the combat had been finished and resolved, everyone just looked at the gargantuan beast in front of them, and their first reaction was, "Man, those teeth would make an incredible sword." And they just started to pull the beast apart.
Other than me.
They started to extract the teeth, the scales of the beast also. And, well, that's where we were last time we left. So let's get back in. Literally 5 seconds after the last episode. With everyone just tearing apart this beast, trying to figure out what is useful in a creature that we know next to nothing about. And so, this is where we start. Jorg, audience, Tobiyashi, Remy, Fisher. How do you want to dirty yourself with the beast? I mean, what do you want to do with harvesting the beast? You pack of animals.
I mean, I was gonna make a
Can't
different
believe
joke,
you guys.
sure.
I think audience and I were going after the teeth.
Yeah. I don't
Oh,
remember.
and yeah, can I do an Arcana check for
Sure.
what I think would be
Sure.
useful out of this thing?
Sure. And since Fisher and Remy are technically two half of a mage, if you ask him for help, I'll let you roll. One of you roll with advantage, or both of you can roll.
Why don't we both roll?
I don't know. I guess by D&D's logic, we're actually like 2/3 of a mage total.
Ooh, 21.
Nice.
Only 16.
Wow, all right. Well, Remy is slightly distracted by the scales of the beast that are still slightly glowing as he's trying to pull some apart. But Fisher, with 21, you're pretty confident that a beast like that, you could probably harvest every single element of the beast and find someone to sell it to. I mean, of course, the fangs would make very nice sword. Even Jorg can recognize the value of these. He could probably make something that'd feel like a great centaur. Maybe a bit of an elven touch because it's going to be very narrow. But still, it would work. The blood of this creature, it's a creature that literally brings the storm wherever it is. You can literally feel... Actually, it's a bit of an odd feeling because you're used to seeing things radiate heat. But this one seems to drink up the heat. So it feels like it's drawing the heat out of your body as you're trying to touch the huge pool of blood slowly covering the ice where you are. So the blood is definitely useful. The meat, you're not sure. but some people will probably want to buy it to taste it, especially in the garden. Every single organ,
Refrigerating.
yeah, every single organ is probably going to be useful. I mean, a creature that can swim through ice as if it was water, that has the ability to create this light. So there's something within its blood. You're probably gonna find a whole concentration of it in its renal system, the kidneys, liver. Well, it just keeps eating ice and pooping it out still frozen. So there's something there. You don't know what draws the storm, but there might be something in the brain. You see a few sensing pits, so it has most likely other sensory organ in the head. Probably something that would be like tremor sense, blind sense. Who knows? Maybe storm sense.
Instead of us butchering it, what if we could call the garden, have them pick it up, and we sell it? We just sell the whole corpse to the garden. Then we don't have to do all the work ourselves. We can take a couple teeth and.
Well, while they're doing this, I'm just going to meditate a little bit away from this massacre that's happening right now.
We're not still taking cold damage.
No. The storm has stopped. And as soon as you realize that the blood is extremely cold, you just make sure that you don't stand in it for too long. It's fine.
Well, Jorg, I think the garden would hire some people like us to bring it back to the garden, is generally how they operate.
We don't have enough of us to take it back to the garden, do we? It's pretty big.
It is.
I have a
pretty big.
dimensional space.
10 by
Yeah,
10.
It's pretty big.
10 by 10 feet.
We'll just have the tail of it hanging out of your dimensional space while we drag it.
But it's also the ice is gonna melt, and it's gonna fall into the ocean
Yeah.
before.
How fast do you think this ice? It's all the way thick through. How fast do you think it's gonna melt?
I don't know. I mean, it took us like 3 or 4 days to get here, though.
And it is salt water, so it'll melt. Well, it freezes at a colder temperature, but
So that
I don't
means
know
it
if that
would.
means it freezes faster.
Yeah, but you also, especially you, Jorg, knowing a little bit
faster.
more about nature, you sort of have a bit of a feeling that the creature being there was forcing the ice to stay frozen at these temperatures, but now the temperature is slowly going to rise.
Yeah, I just don't know how fast. If it's
Yeah.
gonna thaw faster than normal water.
It could take a while. You could find yourself with a mile-long iceberg floating away toward the ocean.
Oh, that's a good point. I forgot about it floating away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we should just take
Wait
what
until
we,
then
what we
and then
can.
sail it back to shore.
Yeah.
Yeah, just cut it out around it, and then we could get ropes and pull it onto shore.
Oh yeah.
But as you said, 4 days.
How
How
far from shore are we?
It's, probably 600 or 700 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna take a while, but maybe not the entire day. Although you are getting late in the day right now.
Mm-hmm. Jorg, you wouldn't happen to be able to get summon some large creatures that could help us drag it?
Give me a good sleep and then I can.
Uh-huh.
That's a good
Well,
idea.
I mean, then in that case, why don't we just, take what we can carry?
Or put in my dimensional
Yeah.
space.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what I mean by carry.
Hmm.
And then we could also go get our cart.
yeah. Gather up some of the.
Again, I really think we're overthinking this. I think we can pretty much get everything that's valuable into our dimensional space.
And whatever can't fit, just chop it up and throw it in there.
Yeah.
I mean, how much space is... We've got some stuff in there.
Yeah, but we don't need all of the meat. We get
yeah,
like
well, yeah, we don't
Yeah.
need the
Just
meat.
get like the nice.
get the scales. We get
Fun
the
organs.
teeth. We maybe
This
grab
thing's
its
like
grip.
50 feet long. The scales is...
Once you take the
Yeah.
scales off, they're not even going to be. It's not going to be that much. It's going to be like
We'll
a pile
stack
of
them like
scales.
plates,
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
going to
we
be that
can try
much.
that. Sure.
and we don't have to get. I mean, we
Get
should.
super organized about this.
Get
How much
some
do we-
vials of blood for, and then maybe take its brain.
Yeah.
Does any
Yeah.
of us have
Oh.
butcher knowledge?
I have medicine knowledge. That's basically the same thing.
I have survival knowledge.
The survival.
And
will-
I have Arcana
will-
knowledge. Put it all together, and we get the stuff.
Also,
Well,
maybe just some personal experience for one particular party member's end, but
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. I completely. As everyone is saying this and trying to figure out what to take and what piece of could be interesting and how to remove this, you sort of notice that Remy seems to be very, very proficient at removing the scales.
That's good. That's handy.
It almost
just
looks
whistling
like
a
he has
jolly tune that he heard somewhere.
it almost looked like he has a practiced hand.
Yeah, that's not weird. That's how Remy does everything.
So yeah, no, with everyone's knowledge together, the only one that doesn't have knowledge about this is Tobiyashi, so
I'm sitting it out anyway.
He doesn't want to anyway.
well, in the cart, you do have a barrel that used to be used to fill with water as you travel. Could probably try and harvest a lot of blood in the barrel.
Yeah. And I've got, I assume, vials in my little, special kit.
Not a lot. It's mostly for
Okay.
mixing things. So you'd be
Yeah.
maxing out your storage capacity with this, and it wouldn't be a lot. And while those
Yeah.
vials are full, and unless you buy more, you wouldn't be able to prepare anything with your kit. But yeah, you could take those.
I will state for the record that Remy does in fact have a fair amount of flasks, but he was planning on putting other things in there.
No, I
Once
won't
you
use
put
those vials.
blood in there, it's kind of you're gonna have to sterilize it before you use it again.
All
Why
right.
don't
I'm sure we can also
Some,
get barrels from our villagers.
go back
Oh.
and get
Oh,
the
hey, that's a
cart
good
and
idea.
tell the villagers that the blizzard is... Has it like stop, or is it slowing down, or...
The strong wind is over. Since you can estimate that it was probably also a mile deep upward, there's a mile worth of snow that still needs to fall, but it's falling gently. The cold, however, the winter cold hasn't subsided, but it's no longer damaging.
Okay.
Well,
So, by all accounts, we would be coming back to the village to say we had slain the Jabberwock,
Yeah.
even though
All
that's technically now a 5th edition creature, but let's not get into that.
Well, I can go because I can just ride back over there more quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And bring the cart back.
But you need my animal handling prowess.
I'm fine at driving the cart.
Fine. The
No,
horse
no.
won't like it.
Now that I've been distracted from this thing's teeth for long enough, while you guys do that, I think I'm gonna go back and sit next to the fire and stop dying. Because I am at a third health currently.
Well, I assume we'd all go back after we get the things.
But first, I mean, we can just tell them that it's extremely dangerous out here and nobody's going to wander out and try and take our
It
loot.
shouldn't take me that long to go bring the cart back.
Mm-hmm.
Now that the blizzard subsided and I can see, it should
How
literally
many
take me
people do you
like...
think are out here to take our loot?
No one's taking out.
No
No
one's
one's coming
gonna
out
take
on the
it. I
frozen.
know.
Yeah, that's why I think
We can just go rest first.
This is
and then-
probably not going to melt as fast as I was thinking, so
Okay,
I'm going to
well,
go take
We're
a
also
quick
on a
rest.
timetable. We want to go do some of the other things, but like we don't need to hang out here.
We did have like
Yeah,
All right, I'm gonna go get the cart and I'm gonna harvest what I want from this thing, and then you guys can go do what you want,
I'll stick around and help harvest for a little bit.
and then we're gonna leave after we rest. So,
While you leave, I'll work on getting teeth out.
okay,
well, I mean, we're going to probably leave in the morning, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So, like,
No,
I'm not gonna go. I'm not going to go, pass out.
Well, I'm saying we should do all of our harvesting though before we go to bed.
Yeah, I'm not going to bed.
All
I'm
right.
going to go take a short rest.
So with
Oh.
You'd go do that.
Fisher.
Audience is jumping on his cat and taking off.
okay.
Yeah, go for it.
So with Remy helming the harvesting, being so proficient at removing things from dead animal, anyone that's starting to harvest things will stay with Remy, as he can just say, "No, don't touch that. Don't touch that." And the
Like, more specifically, hey, don't touch that. Don't touch the merchandise.
and audience going off to get the cart. I don't know why I was trying to say. No, I can't say that word on stream.
Maybe a couple extra barrels. I'm gonna go see if we can get some free barrels, since we did save the villagers from a giant ice worm.
Oh,
Sounds
before audience leaves, I'm gonna hand him the boots I had on, and then how much it was to rent them. Tell him to go take them back. I'm gonna
Okay.
go with I'm gonna go with.
You're just
Fisher.
not wearing boots on the frozen. Oh, you're going. Okay.
Going with Fisher and to go sit by the fire until y'all come back from your
Okay.
heathenist process.
Well, I'll keep in mind
It's
that
natural.
that you're gonna give back the boots, but as soon as you remove the boots, you sort of have this moment of maybe that's not a good idea. I am
I still have
walking
to
on
sit,
ice, and it still feels like winter outside.
Yeah, that's true.
Just starts walking 5 minutes out with his feet and then, exits the snow. Wow, my feet are black for some reason.
All right, I guess I'll keep them.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
why.
don't
but-
hand him. I don't hand him the money back.
Wow.
So, in short, Tobiashi loses a toe, and audience makes a little bit of money. All right, so it doesn't take too long. Audience, you find the cart, and you find Orunak near the cart. You find him staring inside the box. As soon as you arrive, he just closes the box quickly and looks at you. And, hey,
Hey,
I see
we
we
killed
can.
the giant ice worm. And the
Nice.
blizzard cleared up.
Yeah, I can see
Yep.
that. I can actually see that.
Now we're harvesting the ice worm for parts. So I'm here to grab the cart and a few extra barrels, and then we'll probably be on our way.
Okay. it still looks pretty cold. You think the worm's gonna be fine in the winter temperature?
Like, do you think we'll be able to store it?
No, he has Terry's box in his hands. He just wiggles it a little
The
bit.
other worm.
The other worm.
Oh.
The one that's
Oh.
small and alive.
What audience doesn't really think about. That makes. I think the worm should probably just stay by the fire. Everyone's basically, at least half of our party's coming back to the fire anyway. So
This one here?
I don't know. They said they were going to a fire, and I assumed it was going to be probably either this one or the one in the inn with the druid. So one of those two. But we'll be back in at some point.
Good.
You could take the worm into the inn.
All the enemies should at least be gone for today. There is a portal we found where I guess technically elemental ice creatures could come through it starting tomorrow, but for today we should be good.
He looks at the box and... Yeah. Alright, well, I'll be right here. I don't know if he
Okay.
can take winter. Actually, it's
All right.
it's going to be his first winter.
So I'll get in the cart and then I'll go find some villagers to get us some extra barrels.
Sure.
And let them know that we saved the town.
Hey, people, we just saved the town. Like us. All right.
Please like and
comment,
subscribe. Yeah.
Please like and subscribe.
Stinks.
Maybe comment.
All right.
Me and Remy were on the same joke at the same time.
So, is there a... There's actually a price for barrels. Okay.
I assume they'll give it to us for free though, because we just saved their town.
Barrels are hard to make.
They take a lot of time, indeed. And 2 gold, even a peasant that's just had its town saved is...
persuasion. I'm rolling persuasion to convince them that they should give us the barrels for free. We saved their town.
Then make a persuasion roll.
Like, I also need new clothes.
That's a 17.
17. There is this moment where you hear the a little squeaky whine from the peasant as you're trying to haggle your way into 2 free barrels, where he just goes, "Oh, how about 1 barrel free and 1 you pay? That's 50% off."
Yeah.
How
It
about
must
we
be
revive
nice
the
that
snake,
it must be nice tonight that you're going to be able to go home, sleep in your warm bed, without a blizzard outside. Yeah, that must be nice.
Guilt trip.
We'll be off in the cold, saving the world. Took our time here to help you guys, but I guess I can give you some money for a barrel, right? That seems reasonable.
Audience, the gaslighting girl boss.
So, that was your 17?
Yeah.
Damn.
Sure that wasn't an intimidation?
Charisma.
I'm not intimidating him. I'm not telling him to beat him up or something if he doesn't give me
Yeah, no,
the
intimidation
barrel.
would be like,
It's
this
a
is
soft
a nice shop you have
intimidation.
here. Shave something might happen to it, like a giant snake bite or something.
Well, like I said, you see that it's tearing him up inside, He even says, "Oh, we're very grateful. I'll talk with the innkeeper. I mean, I'm sure he can make sure you can stay for at least a few days."
I mean, we got places to be. We have to go. Other people to help.
Don't worry about it. He'll remember. Why don't you talk with the innkeeper a little bit about this? I'm sure he'll give you a lifetime membership to his inn. I don't know.
Lifetime
Six Flags.
Audience is just gonna retire and come be a bum at this inn.
free drinks for
free
life.
food and drinks.
All right, fine. I'll give him 2 gold for one of the barrels.
You know, it costs.
Your audience.
It cost him less to have you stay for 1 week with a normal room than to give you a barrel.
Nope.
So,
It's
okay.
fine. I pay him the 2 gold, and I get also for the 2 barrels.
He even gives you new ones, or at least they look
How is
new.
a barrel that much?
All right.
Barrels
And
are
then
hard
I'll-
to make.
Hard to build.
Yeah. You
Takes
gotta like
Gotta
soak the wood.
Perfectly cut
yeah,
the bands and then bend them, and then
takes several
you
weeks
gotta
to
do
make
the
a barrel.
metal.
Also
'cause you
being
gotta
the
do
appropriate
super-
thickness, which is
I feel like there's a lot of barrels in the world.
There are.
Well,
But
that's because they last such a long time.
Yeah.
Audience
like
also
you make
would
a barrel.
rather-
You make a barrel one day, and it could literally last 2 years.
Audience also feels like he's paying like 2 gold for like goodwill, you know, because it's like the guy will still like the village will think of them as, you know.
After all that haggling, he might not think of you as nicely.
It was no. Everyone respects a little haggle. If you don't haggle, then you're just stupid.
Some cultures they are insulted that you don't haggle.
Well, some
You haggle.
around in our very own world, there are some culture who will be insulted if you don't haggle. Not all of them, which I would like to remind some people. We don't all appreciate it when you haggle. Yes, I've had
dealt
an
with that
unpleasant, a lot of unpleasant businesses with this. So, you add a few barrels to the cart. You now have a cart with 4 barrels in it, and you slowly make your way back to the.
The snake.
Carcass.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, Toby, it's actually good of us to do this. It, like, not harvesting it would just be a waste of all of this material. And so, like, it's gonna just break down on its own anyways, and it's gonna be useless. So we're honoring the corpse by harvesting it.
You know, I went with Fisher to the inn, right?
I follow you a ways as I explain this to you, and then I go
Walking
back.
and talking, and then like, oh shit, no, I was gonna stay.
Oh, shit.
Then meanwhile, off in the distance, Remy is still just sitting there mimicking a whistling tune from a black and white mouse on a ship that he met once.
Just spinning his knife with his finger after he cuts everyone. He's like,
So, Jorg, after a little while, you realize that Tobiyashi is walking away. So you go back to Remy and help him harvest this corpse. As you realize, Tobiyashi doesn't want to hear it. So, and yeah, audiences come back. I'd say probably after half an hour. In grand total, just getting there and then getting back to where you all are.
Do I drive by Toby and Fisher?
we're not going to
You
that
would
one.
for sure make it to the inn before you made it all the way out of the blizzard and back.
Yeah, that's true. All right, I won't tell them. I won't tell them that they get free drinks and food.
All right, so you go back to the inn for Tobiyashi and Fisher. You get back inside this little protected shelter where you feel the heat of the fire going. Connie is still tending to her wounds. Her ranger companion is close by, just changing her bandages. But as you arrive, come inside.
I will silently roll out my bedroll by the fire, lay down, and start to rest.
All right. So before leaving, did you give Remy what you wanted to harvest, or did you harvest it yourself?
Me?
Well, anyone that left to the for the inn.
No, didn't give him anything.
Okay. Fisher?
I was just gonna take a short rest and then go back out.
Okay. Did you start harvesting anything, or did you just
I
leave the...
Started with the teeth and stuff.
Okay. So of course, as you enter, Tobiashi looks pretty fine as he enters, and suddenly he goes next to the fire, roll out his bedroll, and just as you arrive in, you get this moment of Ran and her ranger companion just staring at you, going, "Who won?"
Well, we did, kind of.
You don't
it's
look
dead,
like it.
But yeah, that was rough. We were the only one that survived. The rest are they're dead out on the ice.
I just put my thumb up.
So we just lost 3 members?
Put my thumb up again.
They were a bunch of dicks anyway.
Aw.
Make a deception roll.
Rebecca, look around and
0.
0.
Is this when Fisher actually discovers sarcasm for the first time?
With a 0, it probably sounds like it.
Yeah, it probably sounds exactly like it. So you have a moment where you see them both looking at you and just going, "Ha ha ha, okay. You scared us for a moment." So how many
Yep.
of you are coming back?
Everybody, once they are done with it, probably.
Oh, goodness.
I just came back to kind of,
Wash up?
fix
Okay.
everything. And I'll sit down and use my healer's kit to spend some hit dice. Which I'm sure is a really weird looking healer's kit.
Probably. It near for, especially
It's just
since
like
inside
super
of you
glare.
there's a whole bunch of vine system. It almost looks like a herbalist kit. Okay, so let's go with this. As soon as you start taking out this kit that looks like you're gonna try and harvest parts off of a plant, Connie just said, hold on, I can help you a little bit with this," and she cast a cure wound, and you get 15 points of healing. You're muted.
Does put me above half.
So as she heals you, you feel that gap in what would be your muscle system just close up, and the sap is just stops flowing.
Oh, well, that's a lot faster. Thanks. Oh, in that case, get some sleep, Toby. I've got some more stuff to harvest.
I put my thumbs up. I'll turn over to the ranger and say, I never got your name.
Oh, Garn.
Garn, okay. All right. Do they have any tea in here? You guys find any tea? Anything?
I mean, only medicinal tea, but I'm not sure how efficient it is. A lot of those people don't know how to use the magical properties of many appliances.
That's fine. I just want the tea to drink.
Looking for some hot leaf juice.
Oh, if that's all you want, yeah, anything can be used. Just give me a moment.
And then
Hey,
they
thank
come
you.
out with poison oak tea. There you go.
Why is my face so itchy? My mouth, inside my mouth.
Oh, look, I found those flowers, interesting red flowers. All right, so
White with a purple stem. Huh. Let's see how this goes.
you make your way back, and well, probably if you leave right now, your audience is gonna catch up to you as you're walking on the ice sheet, and can easily make your way back to where Remy is very efficiently harvesting this corp. And Jorg, looking at Remy doing this and feeling a little useless right now, as Remy is simply just nearly in a single stroke removing a scale, and there's barely any flesh on the underside of the scale, and just putting it aside.
I just want to imagine just like Jorg maybe like starts extending his hand, but then he hears like a hissing cat noise and immediately retracts it.
I'll help you here. No, okay.
Audience will go to Fisher, who'll be like, well, I was able to get us free drinks at the from the innkeeper. Unfortunately, they did charge me full price for the barrels, so they charged me 4 golds. If I could just get a gold from you to help even it up, that'd be great.
Yeah. I mean, I would, but I don't care about free drinks, so I feel like I'll just give you my extra free drinks, and then that should make us even, right?
Hey.
I'll just pat Fisher on the back. I'll be like, okay. I was gonna tell him anyway that I was joking after, but I just wanted to see if I could get a gold from him. But I'll just pat him on the back. Be like, that sounds good there.
Well, see, I told you I was just going to take a short rest, and then I'd be back out here harvesting. It just took me 5 minutes, and I'm all put together again.
All right.
So, you
Now
all...
we're going to go find a cool sword.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, there's only 2 large hooks, so you're going to have to figure out which 2 characters are going to get swords made out of...
I can't wield metal.
Well, that's actually not true. Weapon for druids. Metal weapon can be used, but they have to represent something of nature. It is something that you make for nature. The reason why centaurs are okay for druid, it's because they represent the crescent moon, the sickle cycle of life.
Okay.
Also, even just by raw standards, like it really only talks about prohibition with armor.
Okay.
As far as like directly like text, not any lore behind it.
Yeah, no, that's just the lore that I just gave you includes previous editions.
Yeah.
All the way back to second edition.
In that case, I don't really want a sword anyways, so you guys can fight over it.
Well, they're
I mean,
Well, there's two. There's
Yeah.
one for audience, and there's one for me.
I wasn't even making a sword. I just wanted something for my trophy case.
Right out?
all right. So you harvest this creature until night suddenly starts creeping
two-sided
in. You harvest a good quantity of scales. You fill up barrels. Just Remy, you know that there's some place where the blood pools in the body, so you just advise audience and Fisher to just slash there, and the blood is just gonna start pouring out for maybe 15 seconds, and it's, with the size of the creature, it's probably gonna fill at least a barrel. So,
So we didn't even need the 2 barrels, potentially.
well, with
I think we're gonna need the 2 barrels.
Yeah, I know, I'm just kidding.
for a
Like 4
variety
barrels
of
of-
things.
Yeah, we can put a lot of squishy stuff in barrels.
Maybe just mimicking the merry tune the whole time.
Audience is gonna also look up at somebody and be like, "So where did that sprite take off to? Has he just been hanging out watching us this whole time, or is he like, did he leave?"
That's a good question. Hey,
Yep.
Guardian.
What did Toby name him?
I don't remember. He didn't like the name.
Stefan.
Small otherworldly being.
You still around?
When you say Stefan, you just hear a voice. Don't say that. Oh, they're gonna make fun of me for it.
Ah, you are
That
still
is a
here.
sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Don't worry, I'm willing to sacrifice you as well. Is there something you want?
No, I mean, I just was wondering if you were still around. We had the fight. Didn't see you. We've been harvesting for a while.
Yeah, as you might have noticed, we're not that large. I mean, let's just say that this creature could have squashed me pretty easily. We're more caretakers of the world. We use rituals, spells, not so much direct fighting.
So, I do have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think this was the creature that was causing the other elementals to behave somewhat erratically, or do you think that they're still going to be like attacking people and the villagers?
I mean, I'm still not sure about the relationship between the creature and the elementals, but I'm pretty sure that as long as the Fisher is there, there's still a risk of elementals coming in. Although, maybe they're gonna be less of it, because the environment is a little bit less friendly to them compared to what it is on the other side.
Right. But you and your friends can shut the fissure, right? Once they get here.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. There's probably even something close by, and it's causing this. Fisher, usually something has
What?
hit something.
Sorry.
Fisher, not Fisher.
Can you do you have any way to do like a locator spell for that, or can you sense like an energy of like the source of that, or no?
Well, now that it's not dangerous outside, I can probably try and figure something out.
All right, I'd go at least look at that before we leave.
Okay.
We could fix that up
Yeah,
after
sure.
we take.
Probably gonna also try and see if that other druid is close by. She seems to already have scouted out the area a little bit. I also like her hair. I mean, who doesn't like red?
Yep. I agree.
So, turns around and starts walking, and oddly enough, he just gets maybe 20, 30 feet away, and you just blink for a moment, and he seems to be gone.
Alright, I'm like, well, he'll find us once he has some information. Let's finish getting this and get it back to the inn.
All right.
Audience nods, just like my dad.
I mean, your mother was a red dragon, a red dragonborn, I mean.
BRB.
All right, so scales. 2 fangs. A whole lot of blood.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
La, 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 la.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that music. Unfortunately, the only version I know is the Blizzard version that came out when it was StarCraft 1. So what else? Every single organ. So we got kidneys,
Heart,
heart,
brain, stomach.
Bones?
Man, meanwhile,
Weird
oh
sensory
god,
organs.
just like wow, Remy, this kidney is very well preserved.
Also, we learned whether the snake was an alcoholic or not. His kidneys. No.
That's the liver.
Oh, liver. My bad. Yeah.
So yeah, heart, kidneys, liver, lungs are gonna be pretty big. Are you sure you want to try to extract that?
I don't think. Yeah,
don't
that's
think we
probably
need
gonna
the
be too
lungs.
big.
I don't think we need the lungs.
I'm not even sure if they would fit through the opening.
One thing you do learn is that they have 4 kidneys. Unfortunately, only 3 of them survived. So, and you recognize, as you're watching this, you recognize a slash from Fisher's sword going right through one of the kidneys. Remy,
I'm not
you're
gonna
the one who
apologize for
realizes this. Fisher ruined one kidney.
No.
Just clicks his tongue, but doesn't say anything.
You gotta be more careful when you're killing monsters, man.
I almost died. I'm not gonna apologize for that.
All right, so all in all, you even managed to harvest the goodness, what is it called in English?
Brain.
Yeah, but basically the small brain. We all
The
have
pituitary.
so,
The
You
brain
have 2
stem.
brains.
The one in the front?
The lizard
or the one
brain.
underneath?
The What's that big nerve?
The frontal
vagus
lobe?
nerve.
You talking about the one at the bottom of the brain?
Yeah.
Brain
The
stem?
lizard brain?
Yeah, technically, it's also been called that, but I was hoping for the more scientific name.
I think it's just the brain stem, right?
Come on, someone in chat. I'm
Or at
sure
the
someone
bottom of your
knows the
brain,
scientific name of the brain parts.
The cerebrum, cerebellum,
That's the big part.
occipital lobe.
Nope, the cerebellum is... Yeah, no, you were right with the
Doesn't
cerebellum.
it start with a G?
It is the cerebellum.
Or, well, so there's the spinal cord. The cerebellum is
Well,
the one at the bottom.
the spinal cord is
Big-
going to be quite long with this creature.
Yeah.
All right, so
Start.
the point is, the main brain is a bit squashed because, as you remember, Jorg decided to bonk it on the head. So
I didn't bonk it that. Oh,
Yeah, you did. Killed it.
you killed
yeah, that's
it.
true. I bonked
No
it
more
pretty
frontal
hard.
lobe.
And it was a critical strike, if I remember.
Yeah.
And it only
That's
had
just where you
one.
bonk things to make them die.
It only had
I had
one
to bonk
hit
it.
point left, so you hit
Oh,
it pretty
wow.
hard. So yeah, the large brain is dead, but you find that the smaller brain is still in one piece. It's dead, but it's in one piece. So after, well, when the day starts to slowly unwind, you see the sun setting. The snow has stopped falling. Just fell.
Wait, how
for-
many hours did it take?
They've been gone for something like 3, maybe 4 hours.
So is that long rest?
No.
Multiply that number by 2, and then we can talk.
Do we get a long rest? Or because we...
I mean, we will get a long rest later.
Yeah.
You've been doing
Or,
something
yeah,
not
that's
now.
a little bit taxing, so
Yeah.
it's not even
No,
a short rest.
Can we spend the time to get a long rest?
Well, we're gonna go back to the end. I mean,
Well, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
waiting to see if what's his name, the guy comes back and tells us whether there's something I need to go
Stefan.
like Stefan. I need to go like shut or something.
Yeah.
Break.
I have 0 spell slots left.
Well, I don't know if we're gonna have to fight anything. I think we just. I mean, there shouldn't be any
Yeah.
more elementals left. Should go potentially break something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you take all of that. Some of it you put in the cart. Do you still put some of it inside the audience's dimensional storage?
I'd put like the fangs and some of the smaller stuff in there.
Oh, Remy is 100% putting the scales in the storage.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Zero.
Mhm.
He is not taking any chance on any amount of like damage or other conditions of the cart ruining their perfection.
be fair. Barrels. I mean, maybe it'll just magically stay cold because it was like a cold thing. But it might be
Or
a better
maybe-
idea to keep it in the oxygenless.
Yeah, we
Storage
should probably put the
area.
barrels in there too.
Yeah.
We'll basically put everything in the storage space. We should have room in the storage space. We're not using that much in the storage space.
Okay. As you,
Right now we're just using different corners of the storage
Yeah.
space.
Storage space.
Yeah, no. In one corner you see a little bit of gold. I remember audience putting some of his
Money.
some of his money in there. There's remnants of a few weapons that were taken a long time ago. In a corner, you see a brick covered with blue paint.
Ooh,
And
maybe keep that one away from the barrels and stuff because we don't want it tipping over and then
Yeah.
everything going up.
Oh yeah, the cold barrels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Fair
so
enough.
hoping you were
Next time
going.
we open it, it just is a bunch of powder.
I wanted to be
Everything
fair when I mentioned it, but I was so hoping you wouldn't pick it up.
Also,
There's a pound
just for
of
the
salt
record, there's
somewhere
more
in
than
there.
a few weapons in there. There's like 11 short swords in a pile.
Yeah.
All right, so you push everything in. You take the brick out. Just take it out, or wrap it up first? I don't know.
Wrap it up and make sure it's in a completely separate corner.
Mm.
And as long as it's in a separate corner for the barrels. I mean, it's not like the interdimensional space has shifting. It's not like it's going to slide.
It's up to
So,
you.
just put it-
If the
I'll
brick
just
takes
hold on to it now.
if the brick takes sufficient cold to take 1 point of damage, it'll blow.
I'll just wrap it up and I'll hold on to it.
Okay.
Dude, so if we had been holding the brick to use against him, we walked into his like damaging blizzard, we would have just blown up.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Good thing we didn't do that.
That's
Yeah.
one way to wipe a party. Just
I have an idea. All right. Well, let's just say that Tobiyashi might actually have been the only survivor. Looking at all of your hit points.
Yeah.
So, everything's been taken in, stored inside the dimensional space, with the exception of the brick that has been taken out, put into a backpack, wrapped several times to make sure that the cold doesn't get to it. You make your way back and bang! You see fish explode. No. You go back to... But you thought about it.
Introducing my secondary character, Terry, the worm.
Well, he has been developing. If you don't mind me making it a aberrant sorcerer, yeah, sure, why not?
Like he's already a level 6 sorcerer.
Yeah. Oh, look at that! Wow.
He leveled up very quickly.
then we'd have 2 characters we couldn't talk to in the party. Joy.
So you make your way.
Just wait until 7th level when he can like literally summon an aberrant being from the aether and
Finally, someone to talk to. Oh my god. Spend one of the precious sorceress spells known on comprehend language.
All right. So you all make your way back to the inn. As you arrive, you all enter. Tobiyashi is still sleeping around the campfire. You have Connie just looking at all of you entering and... Wow, that must have been some fight. I mean, I saw Fisher, but... Whew. Jorg. Audience.
Audience looks okay, because Audience used all his lay on hands on himself. When he
No,
left,
but
so he's actually
you're
at
still
52.
covered with the blood of the creature you just harvested.
Oh, yes. Sure.
I go,
Not
oh,
my-
right. I pull out my new rag and get it wet and then clean myself up and then offer it to everybody else.
I'll take it. I'll clean myself up with a rag.
Yeah.
It's essentially a little rag that can do what the cantrip can do by cleaning a small surface. So it takes probably a few minutes between all of you, but you manage to clean off all the blood, well, the enemy blood, and a bit yours, but since you're still wounded, it's still pouring out, just a little bit. But after a few minutes, you feel all cleaned up. No more blood on you. Now you can actually see your injuries. Connie just looks at all of you and says, well, that actually looks a little bit more reassuring. You don't look like you've been through the digestive system of the creature. Well,
Yeah.
That's the goal.
But actually, we have. Just harvested.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
That's
fair
true.
enough.
interesting. Okay.
Well, around it, but Jorg really wanted to look inside.
Well, I can't fault curiosity. I mean, this is how we learn how everything works. So, I hope you learned a lot. May it be useful in the future.
It will be.
Jorg's just so curious, like he's seen the beginning and he's seen the end, but not the middle.
You know, you don't know why, but you always heard people saying that there were several dozens of feet of intestine inside of you. I mean, you looked at that creature and you wondered, does it have several hundred feet of intestines?
I'll also tell that we're waiting for the pixie to know that the creature might be gone. He might be able to figure out where we can maybe go to shut down the rift. So
Yeah, I actually went out with him for about an hour. We just looked around. The fissure looks like it's been there for a while, but there was one thing that felt slightly weird. It was the fact that it was not completely buried. Felt a lot like something had ruptured, as if something had fallen. And wouldn't you know, Garn has confirmed that there's actually is a small object, roughly 50 feet underground, about this big. Looks like a little crystal shard.
oh,
I'm hoping it's a sliver.
should we remove that then, so the portal's closed, or should we?
What's a sliver?
It's a sliver of another realm. It's basically what you've encountered them on 2 occasions. The nightmare that you had with all of the undead creatures and the pumpkin at the end. At the middle of the pumpkin, what was radiating a sort of ghoulish blue light, that was a sliver of a undead realm. And when you were inside the cave with the giant purple mushroom, there was another sliver there, which was giving off energy, which was boosting the purple mushrooms to a size that was extremely unnatural.
Yeah, if we destroy it, the portal will go away, basically.
Well, actually,
Probably.
I think it just made it. I don't think we need to actually destroy it.
Oh,
I think
Okay.
that's actually what the little caretaker has went outside to figure out. Because if he can close the portal, close the rift, and retrieve the sliver, I'm pretty sure the garden would be pretty interested in studying a sliver.
I'm sure it would.
I'll feed
I'll-
to my ball. No.
I mean, you could probably, maybe. I don't know.
Let
Actually,
you
don't know
turn
what
into
happened.
a being.
I don't know what would happen if you fed it a sliver. That'd be interesting, actually.
So, Tobiashi, technically, Tobiashi, you're the one that has the highest religious proficiency
Yeah.
in the group. So you'd probably know that slivers, they're sort of... They happen when two realms... It's the idea of 2 realms hitting one another and a shard splintering off from that realm. And so they usually call it slivers of another shard. They can be used as portal to different realms. A lot of mage study those things. But there are physical proof of the teachings of the exiled about the sharded realm.
Oh. Tell audience.
Yeah. They usually mages study them. They're usually just used as portals to another realm, and
See? I mean, I'm sure that so far the garden has been pretty respectful of everything we've brought them. And honestly, usually traveling to other shards is reserved to much more experienced druids. Wouldn't mind a chance of exploring different shards. Maybe they can figure
check
this
it out.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe in the future we might receive quests for exploring a shard. Although I'd recommend...
I get close to the audience. I'm like, I'm trying to say they'll give us money for it.
Audience eyes right now are big. He has the lights flashing with the theme music of Interdimensional Warrior playing again. Interdimensional. Eyes would be like, yes. The galaxy, the universe will know of the dragon's power. You're kind of muttering that to himself as you come over.
It might be fun to peek inside,
Yeah, definitely.
but
If they figure
maybe
out...
in a more stable place.
Well, if they figure out how to enter it, as long as we have appropriate coverings, might be interesting to explore those. So yeah,
Definitely.
That's what the caretaker has been doing, trying to figure out if there's a way to close the tear and keep the shard intact.
Well, I guess I'm gonna probably. How late is it right now? It's probably almost night, basically.
Yeah, you were leaving just as the sun was setting, so by the time that you get to the inn, it's probably beginning of night.
Well, I think our plan was to probably head out tomorrow morning, depending on how what's figured out. So I guess I'm just gonna start resting, and then we'll see if he's able to get the shard out. If not, we can figure out a way to destroy it.
Okay.
Wake me if something happens. Odds will go. Curl up. Get ready to go to bed.
Well, I will, since I'm not too good in a fight right now. I don't really have a choice.
Yep.
Sleep well. And so, slowly, the night sets.
I'll go by myself. It's like, no. Just kidding.
Oh, that's quite all right. You want to leave during the night? Try and harvest whatever you want?
See what I could find. I might want a bone to use as a quarterstaff. No, I'm playing.
All right, so audience decides to go to bed early tonight. What about Jorg, Fisher, and Remy? Do you follow, or is there something you need to finish before the day changes?
Nothing Jorg needs to finish, but he'll probably have some drinks before he goes to bed.
Yeah, apparently there's plant juice
Something warm.
being warmed up.
Yeah.
So it's not officially tea, but it works.
If they have a warm mead, he'd drink that too.
Can probably be found. Although with the temperature right now, it's probably going to be slightly cold. But you could just set it near the fire for a little bit, and it's going to warm up.
Before I go to bed, I'll look through the tavern and find some wine.
It's a small village. Yes, you can absolutely find some wine, but let's just say that it's a bit young.
I'll be fine. I'll get the job done.
It's mostly grape juice with a touch of alcohol.
That might not get the job done.
Maybe. I gotta get like 5 of them.
All right. So?
Before my
Yes.
primordial gets rusty, you want me to try and talk to your
Ball.
Thing.
Yeah. We could have a little lesson right now if you want to talk to it. See how it's doing. If it like the ice thing. Oh wait, before Jorg goes to bed, I would ask him, "Hey Jorg, what would you want for that powder you got off the body?"
That
Drake
powder?
He wants to buy
I mean-
the frost dust.
Cocaine.
That you...
Yeah, or do a service for you. You know, I could do anything.
Yeah,
Warms
really,
up hands.
I don't feel you owe me for it. We all fought the beast.
Yeah, but you guys significantly got more damage than I did.
And I did.
Toby. No offense, but if that's how we doled out rewards in this group,
Yeah. No, you take it, and I'll expect the same from you. But but don't owe you don't owe me anything.
All right. Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah,
If I ever get anything that you want, just let me know.
Will do. I'll hand you all 5 of my frost dust.
Alrighty.
Yeah, because I don't have much to do with it. I have like frostbite and then probably some other spells, but
ice knife.
ice knife. Yeah.
It would seriously optimize an ice knife attack, but
It would. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, I'm not hucking those around a lot.
that's all right.
Yeah.
All right.
You've got your orb.
I'll keep it safe. Make a little pocket with my silk close to my body.
All right.
Maybe snore something. No, I'm just like, I'm just up all
Well, you
night.
can, but it might have some
Make a
extreme.
con save.
Make a con save. I just start talking nonsense.
Well, let's just put it
What if
like
we're part
this:
of a game?
your brain
What if-
freeze might be more
Permanent.
literal than usual. All right.
What if there's giant people controlling us?
So you have 5 usage of this frost shard dust. I don't think I've made it in D&D Beyond, but it's essentially the exact
So
same
just like the
thing
fire.
as the fire one, but cold.
Okay.
And in the future, if Jorg needs a kidney, well, you have to give him one. So,
Yeah.
It's true. If I have a kidney.
That was the way of putting it.
all right. So, well, is there something you'd like to ask to your creature that's living in your ball?
I just want to know how it's generally doing, and if it has any thought or memory of where it's supposed to be, where it's like where its home is at.
Okay.
If it's like remembers coming like through a shard or anything, or like a sliver, as you said.
And we'll get this game of telephone started
Yeah.
using Terranad's power. Speak to the ball,
That's
saying what
interesting.
Toby has told me to say.
Yes, yes. I won't actually make you play the telephone game. So, for the question of if it remembers where it's from, it gives answers to not knowing if it has a name. It just remembers freedom.
Uh-huh.
Could go wherever it wants, as far as it wanted. There was just no stopping. No barriers, nowhere of any kind.
Okay.
It lived in a colony with a whole lot more like him, but very close to one another. The description it gives sort of makes you feel like it was a single drop of water inside of a cloud.
Alrighty then.
Then one day someone took it up, shoved it in the ball, and then it's been stuck here.
Alright, while I'm talking to it, I'll let it out, roam around the room.
As far as how it's doing right now, well, it took its revenge on the dog of the other person.
Now it's my turn.
Well, actually, it doesn't.
I put it in the situation.
It doesn't talk about Jorg itself. It just talks about the fact that the dog pushed it everywhere. So it got its revenge for that. Now it just needs to find a way to roast the dragon alive.
Hey, Toby, you sure you should
I
be
will,
keeping this thing?
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to get it home. I'm not trying to keep it locked up forever, you know. I'm just trying to see where it belongs and if it does belong somewhere. I'll talk to him and be like, "Are you sure? The dragon has helped us a lot in actually surviving. I'm not sure you would want to burn him alive. I don't even think he can get burned alive. He is a dragon, you know."
Feels like a good
Just
challenge.
let me know.
But, if you really need him, then it conveys that it would settle for finding its home and burning it to the ground. Feels like a good retaliation for destroying his home.
Well, if he gets a little too out of hand, I'll let you know. Other than that, wait, they can't understand what we're talking about, right? Other than
Fisher does, because he's answering to Fisher, and Fisher is telling you this.
I look over at Fisher. I'm like, "This is all confidential, right? We've got to sign a
What?
contract."
Huh?
I said this is all confidential, right? What we're talking about. You're not going to tell anybody.
What are we talking about?
Oh, okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. Well, hopefully we could find your others soon. If you remember anything or know of a general spot of where they would be freely roaming, I should have a way to be able to talk to you pretty soon, hopefully, if they don't do something weird with what I have making in the process right now. I should be able to talk to you about it more and be able to talk to you more.
Simply answers with something that feels like it understands. And
All right.
meanwhile,
That's about
it'll
it.
keep on thinking about how to get back to the dragon.
All right. Yeah. This guy likes revenge, I guess. Sounds about right. And that's about it. I'll tell him good night. Well, if it sleeps or rests. Good night, and that I have more delicious stuff for it whenever we need to defend ourselves.
Fisher, it conveys to you that it feels so confused about this conversation in different ways.
Mhm.
The way that you talk sometimes, it feels like you're paraphrasing him, but also sometimes you use words that suggest that you're saying this. It's so confusing.
Well, I'm sorry. It's not my fault. It's Turnad's fault.
He'll take your word for it, he says. Terranat does tell you, you're lucky I'm translating this accurately.
I appreciate that you are translating it regardless of how perfectly accurate it is. Or not so.
Thank you, Fisher, for translating for me.
If anybody understands trying to talk to something but not knowing a language, it's me.
I see it. There's been a lot of that going around.
Yeah,
I think I'll be able to get through that.
we're kind of playing. What's the game? I don't know. I was never a kid, so I never learned the names of any of the games. But because Remy can understand what Terry says, but not speak to it, and then I can speak to your ball thing.
This
Real
feels
kickers, if you could take
such a weird conversation.
All right. Well, have a good rest. I'm gonna go to sleep.
All right.
Okay, have fun.
You're just sitting there.
Yep.
Well, he goes into sentry rest. He just sits there staring at the group. That's what he always does. And finally, Remy, is there something you want, need, or would like to do before we skip to the next day?
Well, if nothing else, since since somebody has to, Remy is going to do like a more thorough check-in on Ornak and Terry.
All right.
They're still outside. I mean, you can go find them. That's probably a good idea. But
Don't worry about it.
It's fairly easy. Like I said, there's no longer a storm. It's still windy because it's Estrin, but there's no longer a storm, and you can easily see at least the campfire of the refugees right outside of the range of the cold. So you'd be there in maybe half an hour and back in an hour at Grantle. Well, as you're arriving, you see Ornak just staring inside the box where Terry is. And as soon as he sees you, he closes the box quickly and... Hey! I thought you were all gonna come back at same time, not one at a time.
So Remy just stares at him expectantly, looking at the box, then back at him.
I think he's fine. I think he managed to figure out his fruit and plant. I don't know, I'm not sure. Tea? Cold tea? He's talking about his lemonade and mint. lemon, mint, and water mixture. I think he
Remy
figured
just
it
kinda
out.
He just tilts his head and points to himself and then points to his eyes.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, at your own risk. And he turns the box around and opens it. It takes a little moment. Terry seems to be on the other side of the box that was left inside, open to the side. But after maybe 1 or 2 minutes, you see him worm its way to the side. And then he stares in your direction. And then you see stars appearing in front of him. A rather long series of it. And then it stops.
I knew I should have cast this spell first before this happened.
Later in the journal, there's just every time I try and talk to this dude, he goes away for 10 minutes and then comes back.
Remy will at least remember what he saw, and then at least, yeah, you know what? Yeah, he'll spend the 10 minutes because.
All right, make an intelligence roll. Just see how much of it you remember.
Where are you? That's gonna be 17.
17. All right. Okay. So you ritually cast your spell, and then you write down what you saw and look at it. Essentially, that's how it's gonna work with you.
It's kind of how it has happened.
Yeah, you realize that some of the words you didn't remember properly, but most of it, it's pretty there. There's just a few words that when you look at it doesn't make any sense when the spell tries to translate it. He's still a bit sour about destroying the stars and the trees. You get the feeling that his language does cover a very intriguing array of curses. And a promise of evening things out for his friends. Well, a lot of people talking. Oh, just followers.
Oh, yeah.
No, they're just people trying
There's
to
a
sell.
lot of them.
Yeah.
I will.
What was it? Want to buy? Oh my gosh! Okay? So what you guys could do? Wait, really quick. Ban the word "by followers, primes, and viewers." Just ban that whole word, and then boom, that whole sentence, and they won't send it into the chat. I've had to do it.
Nice. All right, so.
Well, I don't know if Terry is still watching him intently after all this time, but
Well, he's still in his box. He's behind the box where where he was just before. You're not sure if he's paying attention to you, but I'd say with your passive investigation, it wouldn't be hard for you to imagine that he would not turn his back on you.
well, unfortunately, since these are the only 2 of 3 words that Remy's been able to actually learn, because learning is hard.
Always.
For Remy anyway. He's just going to, with minor illusion, imitate the arrangement he learned for his name, and he's going to dismiss it and then do safe. Because those are only like the 2 or 3 words that he actually has been confirmed to learn.
Safe in stars or in sounds?
In stars. That's what I mean by
Okay.
only ones he knows. For certain.
Well, of course, when you create this illusion of stars, it does draw him out. And for a moment, he just looks at you. And, well, what you would interpret as cocking his head the other way. Then he just turns around and goes away. Make an insight roll.
That's good.
Oh,
14.
14, all right. His behavior does remind you a little bit of a puppy trying to figure something out. You get the feeling that you didn't act in the way he was expecting, so now he feels like he needs to figure things out.
So I guess with that, just so it doesn't feel like Remy's ignoring him, it's like Remy will put the issue aside for now and look to Orna and say, "How are you doing today, Remy?"
A lot of interesting people. Fascinating worm. And to be honest, I'm getting very curious what happens if you try and plant my acorn somewhere in there. I'm wondering if I'm gonna come back as a pine tree. Maybe a fir? I'm a little bit curious.
an evergreen.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe he has heard this phrase, but in a
Okay.
completely different context.
Okay.
As Remy just like, so, well, little lady, how do you feel about experimentation?
What a storied past Remy has.
Well, and he looks at Terry. If it wasn't for the responsibility of having to take care of him, I would.
Also,
So-
Remy just thinking about like how that might look on the outside. Remy's just going to nod in agreement and
Oh, next time then, I'm gonna make sure that when winter starts, I don't have to take care of a worm.
parental responsibility.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you touched it last.
All right. So, anything else? Oh wow, is that
Yeah.
some bits? Cool.
10 bits.
Hey!
They said something. I can't understand.
It's French. It's someone from
Merry
where I was working.
Christmas and Happy New Year.
It's Happy New Year.
Really?
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, 2022. Cool.
I took high school French
Merry Christmas.
5 years ago.
All right.
Well, since Terry is still awake, so Remy wouldn't be able to have access to his logs. So I guess Remy would return to where everyone else is, and then finally actually rest. Remy has not taken a long rest for a very long time. I'm amazed by how many of my resources I still have.
Well,
Yeah, you're rogue.
yeah, well, he's still an arcane trickster, but you know. All right.
But it's just like, yeah, it's just like I'm amazed I still managed to hold on to all, well, after the fight, 2 of my spell slots over the past, 2-3 days.
Mhm.
All right. So, Remy discreetly makes its way back to where everyone is, and the night goes on uneventful for everyone except Tobiyashi. During the night.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, during the night, you remember nearly falling asleep. You were around the fire pit, in the inn, and from your point of view, you just started to get really tired, and your eyes closed, and when you opened up your eyes again, you were sitting around a campfire, but outside. However, in the dream, it doesn't feel weird at all. You're just as if you just dozed off in front of a campfire, but you don't see any of your friends around. You're just there, tending to the fire, tending to your own equipment, and you hear this sound in the air, this wind, but feels like there's a whisper in it. You hear, "Show me more." And you wake up on these words with the feeling that, oh, that's my gloves.
Okay. Is everyone asleep? Am I just awake, alone?
Just
Probably for
staring at
everyone
you.
else. Yeah, there's Fisher staring at you, but everyone else is asleep. You get the feeling that for them it's midnight, the middle of their night of rest. But you got to sleep 3 hours before everyone else, so you're sort of near where you would wake up normally.
Okay.
But Fisher is the only one that's actually feels like it. He's talkable.
All right. I'll look as I wake up. I'll put my hands in front of me, kind of like look at the front and the back of them.
They don't seem.
Huh.
They don't seem to. They don't seem different. You get the feeling that they acknowledged your presence, but they want to see more.
Okay. I saw. No, I'm just like, I'm just kidding.
Maybe it's gonna explode. Hit Fisher.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I was like. No. I'll just look at him slightly, look at Fisher, and then I'll be like, "Will Fisher talk to me back
Well,
since he's awake?"
you know he sees you.
But he can't talk.
Well, he can come back from this. Fisher, basically, like everyone else, can come out of a long rest for 2 hours. For him, it's simply going from a state of inertness to moving, and he can talk to you for 2 hours without losing his long rest.
Okay. I'll just be like, huh. What's the next big thing we're gonna do? I'll look over at Fisher and be like, when do we get back out? What are we going back to the garden?
Not yet. If I remember correctly, there was something about a feather.
All right. Well, I'll be
I
ready.
would check, but I can't seem to find my notes.
Remy has taken a quest about a flying creature attacking villagers. I believe that's the last quest that you took, hoping that you get to finish it before you get called and someone tells you where the bard is.
All right. I guess I'll just wait for everyone to wake up. If I've already taken my long rest, if I still feel tired, I'll go back to sleep.
Well, technically for you, you could go into something that asks very little, like talking or just staring at the fire, taking an early breakfast. So long as you're not exerting yourself, you won't lose that long rest.
All right. I'll take an early breakfast and kind of feel a little fulfilled. I'm getting closer to showing my worth to the gloves.
Okay. And so the rest of the night finishes, and eventually morning comes. You all wake up, some satisfied, some still slightly sore from the previous day, because I'm not sure just how much healing each one of you has done before going to bed. But we're going to go on a break so you can have a little bit of time to figure this out. And if my friend is still there listening in the chat, merci beaucoup pour les bits, ça fait plaisir. All right. So, we're going to go to our break. Hold on this, and let's put in some... Well, the only thing that feels... let's go with a thunderstorm. It's always fun to hear a little bit of rain and sometime a little crack of thunder. All right. See you back in exactly 15 minutes. Bye. Hello, welcome back. I think we can, well, I was going to say I think we can remove the thunder and lightning, but let's see what the weather says.
It's cloudy where I'm at. No. In real life. It's snowing over here.
Well, it's the middle of the night here, so I'm not sure what it is outside. I can't see. But it was fairly... Well, to be honest, for me it's warm outside for winter. But, some people think that it's freezing outside. Can't fault them. Technically, water does freeze at this temperature. But so right now, here outside, it's somewhere along the cusp of 20 degrees here. So for me, it's warm in winter. It's a warm winter. All right. So what does the temperature say in the Shattered Continent? Of course, 19 for wind, so it's pretty windy. Don't know why I keep rolling for the wind. It's always a high number. No matter which dice I use, it's always temperature, precipitation, wind, temperature. No matter which dice I use, the one in the middle is always a high roll. So doesn't work like that during fights, unfortunately.
Only.
But actually, not Thunderstorm.
She's more wind elementals, then we'd be doomed.
It's not Thunderstorm
Or air elemental.
outside, but it is raining when you get up.
Oh.
but unfortunately, you're still near where it's a bit cold. So for you, it's the very annoying, oh, it's raining! Oh, god damn. It's turning to ice when it hits the ground. So it's basically, you wake up and you realize you had 2 hours of sleep outside.
Nice. Wouldn't want to be the person driving the cart. No, I'm just like-
Yeah, I gotta put the snow tires on.
Get some chains.
Yeah, chains for the horseshoes.
Yeah,
Front wheel.
We got 4 horses? No, it's just we just got the 1 horse. Not even 2 horse drive.
No.
yeah.
So,
Got a little Suzuki.
is that the name of your horse?
Yeah.
So you get outside and you realize, okay, well, it's raining. Well, we're right next to the ocean, so it must happen fairly often. But, and yes, I know, I sometimes say often, sometimes say often. That's what happens when English isn't your native language. You can sometimes say...
For what it's
It also
worth,
happens when it is your name.
Yeah.
for what it's worth, both are acceptable pronunciations.
Yep.
Throwing that out there.
Oh no, I know. It's just that some people find it weird that I'll say both in the same 5 minutes sometimes. So,
Well, I mean, I do something similar with like other words, but that's just because I play a lot of different characters with different accents, and sometimes they just bleed into each other in when I'm just speaking normally. So,
yeah. All right. So when you get up, I mean, a bit stiff, cold. You realize there's a layer of ice everywhere around you, and you see Connie trying to dig away at the ice that is formed over the door. But you do realize, you do see that Tobiyashi looks pretty anxious, and in a very good way.
Oh my god, what's gonna happen? Oh, no,
You get up and he's doing squats, you know.
yeah, exercising, doing some jumping jacks, maybe a cartwheel here and there, staying limber.
Then he starts running and tries to run through the ice sheet where there is the door and doesn't make it.
So, are we done dealing with the big thing? We gonna go find a shard
Guessing
of
so.
a shard?
Well, didn't we have to wait for the Stefan to come back and tell us the news about it, or are we just gonna
That's
go
what-
to where it's at?
That's what Stefan says. I needed the news whether we were going to destroy it, whether we even needed to go at all, whether he got it.
We should,
Connie turns around and says, well, actually, that's a bit why I'm trying to dig ourselves out. Part of me hopes that it's going to go back to normal because it's a bit early for ice. But yeah, during maybe an hour ago, I was able to talk to him, and he said that there might be a way to manage this simply by taking the shard, the sliver, and moving it away from the tear a fair distance. So, soon as we can dig ourselves out, I'm going to take the sliver, put it in my backpack, and simply walk away.
Hey, yo, who said you get nonchalant? No, I did.
Because it's my mission. You're here to help me,
Okay.
but my mission is to figure this out.
Sounds good. Well, we have another mission to be on, so we'll
If you want
probably
to take
head out
care of
too.
that, you could take our cart with you. Make no sense.
Toby, we're gonna do our mission.
Right, we're gonna take all the organs and stuff. Yeah, don't you think they're gonna like decay with us when we're on our adventure?
They're in an airless sealed compartment. I think they'll be okay.
Not refrigerated.
Well, I think the
Alright.
I think the
By
harvested.
refrigerated, I don't know what that word is, but cold.
I think the blood that you, the
Oh yeah.
barrels of blood that you put inside of there has turned this into
Oh
a
yeah.
freezer.
Okay,
That's a good
okay.
point.
Yeah. Maybe it was a good thing we didn't leave the bomb in there.
Yeah.
All of a sudden in the middle of the night, you're like, what was that? Where was that?
You open it and there's just tons of like a slurry of
Hey, look at it!
beast coming out of it.
Blood and guts.
It's a meat smoothie. Cool.
I just hear like a soft pop. I just look down. There's a tiny crack in my orb. I'm like, what? I just like open it. The room's just gone. Just like a crater. Oh.
So, yeah, Garn is gonna act as a communication between me and your friend there, who apparently has been named against his will.
yeah, Stefan. Use Stefan. Don't call him anything else.
Yeah.
But we have somewhere to go. We gotta get going. It doesn't matter what his name is.
Okay. She turns toward audience and Jorg, and Jorg, she does thank you very much for assisting. She says it in Druidic, so no one understands but you.
I'll say it was an honor. These things are more important than most other things.
And she, again, still in Druidic, tells you, well, let you know if the garden believes they can actually find a way to explore another realm with this.
We shall see.
George's like, wait, are we about to kiss right now?
They're talking in a strange language, close to one another.
Audiences in the background giving Jorg thumbs up.
If
like,
she,
no.
I'll give her my orb contact. See?
No, so what's your orb contact?
Yeah. We'll have to keep in touch about this exploring new realms.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to step on the toes of your significant other. And then you see Jorg waiting. Is she gonna say yes? No. Oh, you don't have a. So, but again, she thanks you profoundly. She goes back to common, turns to audience, and says, "Well, you do seem to embody your reputation, the good and the bad. So take care of yourselves, and try to not get killed, as you do seem to have a knack for finding the dangerous things."
Thank you, and you take care of yourself. Hopefully, you'll get that arm healed up.
I'm sure it's going to be very easily healed once I get to the garden. Sarn will most likely not even need a prayer.
Yep. Well, careful on the road making your way back. You never know what's out there, so just keep your eyes open.
I do believe Garn is going to watch over me until I get to a portal.
All right.
Yeah, Garn Sarn, let's go.
Garn also gives you a slight bow, audience, and
Mhm.
puts his hand forward as to shake your hand.
I'll shake his hand and be like, "All right, make sure she gets home safely, and good luck to you."
I will, and I'm so sorry. I I didn't know who you were when you got here. You're actually gonna have a bit of a reputation around Forgem. Help a lot of people around the Tournay Woods. I didn't realize it was you.
Yeah, well, I do my best.
I thought you just said 4chan.
Forgem, it's the name of a city. It's
Well,
for those who knows the history, it's a contraction of the gem of the forest. Forgem. Forest gem.
well, me and my party must be off. We have more people to help and more missions to complete, so we should be off. But good luck to both of you, and hopefully we'll meet again.
I think we will. A wink.
I just awkwardly stare at Jordan like, I walk out first.
And
I was like, and it's time to go. So
Pushing George. Come on.
Alright, so you move out, you find yourself in a bit of
I
a
gotta go pick up my kid from daycare.
a bit of a frisky morning, especially since you're still in the aura of the shard. But the horse has been placed in a place that is covered, so he wasn't stuck freezing to death outside under the sleet. Gather your things. You go back to the edge of the weather anomaly. You pick up Olenak and Terry. As soon as you arrive, you see. So for you, it's probably something like 8 o'clock in the morning. As you arrive, you see Olenak just says, "Oh yeah, finally, everyone's there at the same time." Yeah, be careful, he's asleep. And he hands you back the box with Terry in it.
Yeah. Thanks for watching out for him.
No problem. I gave him one of my leaves. I think he likes them. He ate
What do you
it.
do with it?
He ate it.
That's
careful, he'll eat you next.
It's kind of a worm thing to do. With caterpillar.
Well... He turns toward Remy. Maybe closer than winter? You know that thing we're gonna try? It's a bit harder to digest pinecone than needles. Alright, so we're ready to go?
Wait.
Oh,
Wait for what?
not.
I have to give these boots back.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah. Otherwise, just interest keeps, those
it
late
just
fees
keeps
pile
going
up.
up. I gotta go. I gotta return to Blockbuster.
All right,
Um,
Toby, come meet us at the edge of town. We'll wait for you.
All right.
Go turn.
I go around looking for the guy with the dwarven guy with the boots. I'll give him back and pay him his money. How much would it be? How many days was it?
it's
Like one
only
day?
been 1 day, yeah. So basically,
Okay,
the amount that he asked you, and nothing more.
all right. I'll give it to him. Boom. Take the boots.
You see him take the boots back and sort of looks a bit disappointed. Oh, okay.
Thank you. It was a great service. We got your town back, so enjoy that. I wish you a good day, and I got somewhere to be, and I run off.
Remy, because of your stupidly high passive perception, you see the guy just taking the boot, looking at the sole, and what did he step in? But he takes the boots back and cleans them up a little bit.
He's got to replace that stink with a different stink now.
Yeah.
So, you go back to the road, and with Jorg having done such an incredible job last time, an audience being the one used to, during the day, it's 2 seats on the front, so I would assume that Jorg and audience are the ones that are at the front.
We each have a rein in our hand, just staring at each other.
Also,
So romantic.
since Remy has now been informed that Terry is asleep, he is going to attempt to update his logs because he hasn't been able to do so in a while.
All right, make a...
Log check.
Well, I'd say stealth, just because it's not so much a question of dexterity. Well, provided that Fisher lets you. It's not so much a question of
I
dexterity.
mean, if he rolls high enough, what am I going to do about it?
Well, you have the box. So unless he takes it out of your... If he needs to take it out of your backpack, it's going to be sleight of hand. But if he just needs to copy what's been written without waking Terry up, it's just stealth. So is he going to have to do a
regardless,
sleight
they're
of
I
hand?
both
probably have it in my hands.
Okay.
Regardless, they're both the same value, so it literally doesn't matter.
Yeah,
'Cause
as
yes,
Remy,
I did in fact take expertise in sleight of hand. Why wouldn't I?
as Remy reaches for it, I go, "What? He's supposedly sleeping right now. Don't wake him up. That's something you're supposed to do, right?"
The Remy nods.
Why? What would you want?
Remy is going to minor illusion a quill and then hold up his book.
Uh-huh. You normally copy stuff down when he's sleeping?
The Remy has like a sad look on his face and then nods.
But not when he's awake?
Remy minor illusions Terry mid vomit.
Mid-acid spit, you mean?
Sitting there silently, looking back and forth
Is-
from them talking.
Is that what you're trying to avoid by copying it down when he's sleeping?
Remy nods.
I mean, I kind of feel like if he doesn't want you copying down his stuff, then you shouldn't be copying down his stuff.
How do you know that?
Remy is trying to think about how to communicate this properly.
Remy, for the first time, is having to deal with the parent.
Remy is just going to start with, I guess. He's going to. Okay. So he's going to once again minor illusion Terry. And then he's going to then minor illusion a small scene of a forest burning down. And then points to himself.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm just sitting there with popcorn.
You
I think he's saying he's going to burn down the forest.
is that what it is? Are you worried Terry's gonna burn down do you have a forest?
Amy shakes his head.
it Terry's forest?
Shakes his head.
Then what's the point of the forest? Is this a metaphorical forest?
Remy is now going to minor illusion a map of the continent, and he's going to pull out one of his daggers and stab the map.
Is that where the forest is?
Maybe it. I'm just like, maybe it's for the greater good.
You stabbing a specific spot on the map, or you just stabbing the map?
Remy is going to now just like make slashing noises all over the map.
So it is a metaphorical forest. The forest is
Maybe not.
the map. Okay. So, is Terry worried you're going to destroy the world, or are you worried that Terry is going to destroy the world?
Remy is going to point to himself, but then he's going to minor illusion a pocket watch.
I have nothing.
You have...
And he's going to point behind himself.
You did destroy the world in the past? That doesn't make sense.
But Remy nods.
Wait, hold up. Are you nodding that it doesn't make sense, or are you nodding that it happened?
He nods when you mention that it happened. he pulls up one pound.
Wait,
Wait, Remy, what?
were you a worm?
All Remy
What?
can do is just point to his book of Terry's notes.
Can I read that?
Well, Remy's
Can I read that?
Remy's notes are in Terry's language.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
of course it is, because he can't translate, he can copy.
But I believe that you have
I have,
If-
a primer.
a version of the language in common and one in Terry's language, so you can actually compare it both. You asked
Mhm.
for that as you were leaving.
Yeah. Okay,
I have a headache.
yeah.
Fisher
Remy,
also seems to have
Can
a
I
headache.
see your book? I'm gonna figure
That's
this
what Toby
out.
says, and then lays down.
I think perhaps to make it a little bit easier to find the relevant information, after a casting of Comprehend Languages, Remy is going to turn to the page where he remembers the event
Okay, so
and displays that page to Fisher.
okay.
Just so he doesn't have to do an investigation for the very specific.
That's all right. I understand. So, I believe Terry's log is in this folder here.
This is so many translation tile deep. This is mimicking a translation of a translation after it was comprehended.
I believe it's day 8.
I think it was day 8.
Yeah.
It's or around there.
So, oh goodness. Fisher, this is one of the heavier days, and as you start reading this day, it is a long day. I'm gonna send it to you in sections, although I'm not even sure that
Oof! Wow. Okay.
it's one of the longest data he has written about. But all right, so
Well, yeah, it's the day Remy set fire to the world, I guess.
Terry.
That sounds like that's important.
So to ease your reading, and if you want, I'll send the whole thing in sections because it's basically, I don't know, something around a page long to read. The 8th day of Terry's log refers to the day that you all fell under the illusion of the god when the night had no moon.
Oh, when we all fought each other.
Yeah,
Oh.
it is his account, what he saw during that day.
Wait, we fought each other?
I'm not sure you were back yet at that moment.
I don't think so.
Toby actually was not there yet. No.
And as you read this, you notice that from Terry's perspective, what happened during that day, he doesn't exactly know why, but Remy destroyed his box, killed all of the stars, and burned all of the trees. And every time he was thinking about someone, Remy would manifest them and kill them. And when he realized that, and he thought the only being that was left was the Starlight entity, he decided to push the memory away and sacrifice himself in order for the Starlight entity to keep on living. This is roughly where his nightmare ended. In his
And Remy just,
depiction,
as he's sitting there just looking at you expectantly.
in Terry's depiction of the night, Remy looks all powerful, impossible to beat, and just malevolent, pure malevolence.
Mm-hmm. I see. Well, that's not great. Uh-huh.
I'm looking over Fisher's shoulder at the book. I'm like, what does it say?
I also want to know what Terranad's comment is.
Terranad's comment on this is, well, I mean, everyone saw something different. I guess that makes sense for the perspective of a worm. To see a bird as the incarnation of the end of the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Be nice to be able to explain it to him.
One thing that I do recognize, though, is that he is a pretty noble creature. He knowingly decided to sacrifice himself to save someone else.
Must be doing something right.
Well, maybe it's from his mother.
That would be an interesting concept. From what I know of general biology, aren't I technically his mother?
By the way, you're all getting only Fisher's side of the conversation.
I'm like, wait.
Because I'm
What?
pretty sure that's how it works most of the time, is the baby comes out of the mother, not the father.
So you're saying you're a
That's
woman,
your thing.
you're a female. Fine, that's fine. I'm just gonna start calling you Miss.
I mean, it'd be a little weird, but
I mean, if it's
just
the
because
proper
I'm not
na-
used to it, not because it's not anatomically inaccurate.
if it's the proper way of calling you, I really don't mind, Miss.
Do what you want, Terranad.
All right, then it's settled. Didn't know I was living inside a woman. New experience.
Well, you're not. It's like, did you think you were living inside a man? Because I think you would have known better than that.
I want to know what everyone thinks of this conversation so much.
That you're only hearing half of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
I'm
only
sitting there in
hearing
silence like
Fisher's
that.
conversation in this.
You know what? I just want to imagine, like, in the moment where, like, Fisher's just talking about, like, you know, like, normally doesn't, you know, come out of the mother, and then maybe just looks over at audience from behind, sighs, and returns the conversation.
I'm just sitting there like, I think I'm gonna leave this one alone. I go to sit towards the back of the cart.
Alright. Well, sorry for the tangent, Remy. I think it's. I mean. I don't. I think from now on, I will. Yeah. I think from now on, I'll copy his diary if he is willing to let me. Until we can until I can actually learn to talk to him and let him know that you're not a all-powerful, world-ending monster.
Yes, Remy just sighs and, just... Yeah, I think you still have it, so, pushes his book closer to you and just, goes to another corner of the cart, just thinking about life.
With the rain falling on him, just dripping off his beak. He looks even more miserable.
I feel bad. I'm gonna very slowly attempt to translate the rest of the book.
Alright, a few quick things. He consider you to be... He always refers to you as being the being that is carrying him. And Remy is always referred to as the weapon appendage being.
Mm-hmm.
Jorg is referred to the being with the same smell as the fragrant being. Basically, he thinks Jorg smells like a tree.
Mm.
Oh, cool. That's better than what I was thinking.
Yeah, it was
Like
like, flip through. Where's the fragrant bee?
I was like,
He calls the tree the
Farm
tall,
animals.
fragrant
Right.
being, and bushes and shrubs the small, fragrant beings.
Does it have a reference to Oranak?
Ornak
Moving.
would most likely fall under the category of small fragrant being, although you get the feeling that the chapter that's going to include him is not part of Remy's book. It's going to be what Terry wrote.
Whatever he wrote today.
Yeah. Rapidly, I'd say, yeah. He considers you to be the being that is keeping Remy in check. And he was afraid that Remy killed you when he destroyed his house. He doesn't seem to be able to make the difference between the dream realm and the reality. Your reality. For him, it's just same thing.
What about me and audience?
Honestly, you're not in any of Toby. You're not in any of Terry's log, Tobiyashi. So. Audience has only a passing reference as being a being that he recognizes there, but never interacts with him. So he knows he's there, and he's big. That's about as precise as it goes with him.
Well, it's more than audience knows about him.
Yeah, that would be
okay.
a very quick note of it. I don't know if I sent you the log that Remy has. If I haven't, I'll send it to you tonight.
I don't think you did, but okay.
Alright. So, the day starts moving forward, and maybe an hour after all of this has happened, and you realize that Remy is the incarnation of all evil in the world, according to Terry. And audience and Jorg are, as always, confused, but you know, it's normal when it comes to Fisher to always hear half of the conversation. So, but probably for audience, it feels a bit amusing to know that there might be some debate about Fisher's actual gender. You're not sure how the conversation ended because you only have half of the conversation.
Yeah. Probably just slight amusement. That'd probably be the correct response.
But after maybe an hour, which would put you... Yeah, you're arriving... You're almost at Septane. You've been traveling for nearly 4 hours. You can see Septane in the distance, where you had all of the problem with the rogues. As you're arriving, you hear the orb ring, audience, in your backpack.
I will answer, of course.
As always, it is Sira who is talking to you from the orb. Audience, I believe you wanted some information about when someone had figured out the route that the bard you're looking for is going to take?
Yes, I did.
Actually, I've had Palnist call me and say that the Silvertongue bard is supposed to be passing by the village of Darnell in roughly a day and a half, the end of the next day. You're actually not that far. I think you could make it if you rode throughout the night. I think you could make it before the end of the night.
Okay. Thank you for the information. Yeah, that's most helpful. I might try and make it out there.
All right. Well, I hope it's useful. And if you miss him, well, just send us another message. I'm pretty sure that Paulness is going to be following him for a little while.
Okay. Thank you. I'll let him know.
And she ends the communication there.
All right. I'll turn the party. I'll be like, so the Silver-Tongued Bard, who's they said had perhaps a decent amount of information on the Hunter God, it could maybe help us figure out the maybe some of the prophecy we got. Is actually going to be in a town in about a day and a half, and if we ride from the night, we'll actually be able to make it there. We should be able to meet up with him.
What about
Direction.
So, Darnell, if you take the southern exit to Septane, you're going to get there in roughly 5 hours.
what about Remy's thing?
Well, I think we can do Remy's thing was I don't have a map in front of me, so I don't know.
Actually,
Well, it was
for Remy's quest, you'd have to go to Septane and take the western exit, all the way to the largest of all the city in Estrin. There's a small village that's 2 hours out of there. That's where Remy's quest is. It's roughly, I'd say in total, maybe 2 days away.
Okay. So we would have to make a stop here before going to Remy's quest. But I do think it's important we try and get this information, since I don't know about you, but I have really no idea what the prophecy means or how we're supposed to find it or stop the Hunter cult. And if the Bard knows, we should at least try and get something.
Yeah. Hey, Remy.
Sorry for more bad news, but
Yeah. We already look pretty sad, but yeah, we're delaying your quest you wanted because we found the bard or whatever.
You hear a high-pitched whine.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's like, well, Remy looks at this a little bit differently in his own brain, and basically more inspired by the prospect of seeing the other charismatic shiny dragonborn nods.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
Looks like we're going. What is that? South? I don't know. I'm not driving.
Yeah, you just basically keep on going south. When you get to Septane is literally at a crossroad. If you take the southern exit, you get there in roughly 4 to 5 hours.
Alright. So, yeah, I guess whoever's driving right now, whether it's me or Jork, will take the cart that way.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I wonder what this town's gonna be like. Hopefully it's not overrun by roads again. Or, you know,
according to the map,
frost monster.
it's a small village that's maybe half an hour away from a large lake.
Oh, not this again.
Not another worm. Alright, so steel yourself and onward with Remy. A few sparkling thoughts in mind of meeting back with this very charismatic, actually sparkling dragon. And you keep on going.
I don't know how I feel about these dragons.
So, maybe
As we're going,
yeah.
I'd want to start trying to construct a short letter or something to Terry, which I'll actually do and send you later.
Okay. No problem. Alright, so. Oh yeah, and one other thing you realize with Terry, his day and night cycle is not exactly the same as yours. Apparently he stayed with the cycle that you had when you entered the forest. So his day doesn't start at 6 o'clock in the morning. It seems to be starting at around 1 or 2 o'clock in the PM. Yes, it's been a pain trying to figure out sometime when things happen, when I have to figure that out.
Teenagers always sleeping in.
Well, he doesn't see the sun. He's never seen the sun, so his clock just keeps on going with whatever happened.
Need some vitamin C or D, whichever you get out of the sun.
It produces
It's
it
D.
on its own.
It's vitamin D.
You get C
Scurvy
from
would have been a
orange.
significant that's a
Good
problem.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, all he's been having is lemon juice.
Well, for the past day, yeah. So he's pretty good with the vitamin C. And I believe that lemon is really good for the kidneys. So his kidneys are really liking his new diet.
Just in general, lemon is
other
good
worms'
for...
kidneys.
Just in general, lemons are very good for intestinal health, just period.
So he's going to digest everything. He's going to start digesting metal. So...
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Don't eat my stuff.
Stop eating my sword, Terry. So, you keep on going, and you arrive maybe half an hour later at the town of Septing. People recognize you as you're arriving. You see a lot of people just waving at you. You see in the fields the construct just working. You see a lonely shadow sitting cross-legged on top of the town's inn, looking toward the field, which you recognize as being Civ. But for now, everything looks pretty quiet. There's still a bit of gloom in the eyes of some. Some people actually lost people that they knew. But in general, people seems to be happy to see you, and most people wave by as you're slowly making your way through town. 10 minutes later, you are at the southern exit, and you make your way out. We are 4 hours later. I believe that they can stop the rain.
Hey, Fisher.
Yeah?
Do you think you could tell my... Can I give him a name? No. Do you think you could tell my orb to... If I let him out, will he follow us, or will he just run away?
Yeah, I could ask it that.
Yeah, ask him that.
Okay. Give me the orb.
The general answer... The general answer that you get is he considers Tobiyashi a friend, and he's gonna follow a friend. But he prefers his ball.
Okay. Alright, then I'll keep him in there. I'll just be talking to it all the way until we get there. Telling him about what was happening outside when we were fighting and when he was getting smacked around, and tell him who the dragon is and who the druid is and the big metal guy is, and who Remy is. Which is, audience. George Fisher.
I know.
Remy.
Fisher, you can hear from the corner of your ear when Tobiashi talks about who audience is. You sort of hear something that lets you interpret what he's saying as, I don't need to know the name of my prey.
Wait, does that mean it can understand a Toby,
Yes.
but Toby just can't understand it back?
Yeah.
Does Toby know that?
Kind of. A little bit.
You'd have
'Cause it
to
makes,
ask
like,
them
stuff.
if you want to know.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
All right. So, keep on going with now 2 people talking in the cart. You're hearing 2 halves of 2 different conversations now. The group is getting weirder by the day. But after another 5 hours, it's getting a little bit late. You're starting to feel the need to get up. Your butt is starting to feel hard, and not for the good reason.
Not gonna ask.
And so, when the day arrives and, okay, sun is starting to set, but you see this small village. Oh yeah, just in case you wanted to know, you did cross a bridge during the day. Just in case there was something you wanted to do with the bridge.
I don't have my notes.
Look for
Obviously,
trolls.
look for the
What's
troll.
significant about a bridge?
Yeah, look for a troll.
No, actually, there's nothing waiting for you at a bridge, just in case. Because the bridge are difficult.
Terry's going in the water.
The bridge are difficult to see on my map, and sometimes I forget to mention that you go across a bridge during a day. I just wanted to mention it.
I draw the ancient power of the bridge gods to,
All right, so
It's not the first bridge they've seen, but you know what? It's a better bridge than maybe some of the first.
Yeah. That's a really well-made bridge.
yeah, made us.
I mean, there's a little sloppy editing here and there, but
If only we could easily make clips of different clips. All right, so you make your way, and as I said, you arrive at this cozy-looking town, village. It's really a small one. There's maybe 6 or 7 houses at the center of it. You see that it has a round center centered around a well, and few houses around it, and just an extra layer. But you look around and you see, all right, there's at least a fisher's hut, but they're probably mostly relying on fields to get them through the year. So cozy, relaxed, small little village.
I didn't know Fisher had a hut here. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Real estate.
As you arrive, you cross 2 children running after one another, one with a stick in his hand, emulating a sword. The other one just shouting, say, "Hey, no, that's not fair! Your stick is too... Go away!" But you easily recognize this as 2 children playing. One may be running, but the other one is definitely playing.
Yep. So is this the village we're supposed to be at to meet the bard?
Yeah. The bard is supposed to arrive sometime during the next day.
Alright, well, I guess I'll head over to the inn to go, chill at the inn because we got like a day to kill.
Do you really want to kill it? um. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's like I said, it's a cozy, quiet little village. You arrive in the inn, immediately you attract the attention of everyone with the group that is with such impressive colors. Audience entering, tall, proud, with one arm completely covered in gray scales, but the rest of this body, brassy color. Brass or bronze? I always mix
Brass.
them up. Brass. Brassy color, immediately followed by this small bird shadow in contrast to audience.
Wait, audience. You're
Yes.
lightning, right?
Yes,
Yes.
he is lightning.
That's bronze.
Alright, bronze then. I also mix it up. One of
Honestly, like the distinction in like the distinction between the two, like I mean, obviously from the
Are you
chemical
sure?
perspective is different, but
Now I'm gonna go double
Pretty sure
check.
brass is fire.
I don't think so.
Actually,
no, brass is fire.
I think
Is it?
actually brass is
Brass?
heat, but it's under fire damage.
Okay. Bronze.
I would like to take off my like cloak and like all the heavy, weather gear I had on as we get into town.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you can even leave
Oh,
it
yeah.
in the
I
cart.
had done that a while ago. Once it warms back up.
Like I said, you're right now. The dusk of a season is when the temperature transits. So you have fluctuations. Some day it's warm, some day it's colder. This was probably anyway in your list of things to do to buy warmer clothes. So as you enter, like I said, with this very odd mix of people, color, race, and one that some people are not sure if it's a person or not. As audience enter, just a fraction of a second before audience enter the inn, Fisher, you hear Taranad go inside of you. Hey, hold on. Isn't it supposed to be ladies first?
That would be correct if I was a lady.
And that is what you hear.
I'm just gonna leave that alone. I wrap my silks around my wrist, kind of like. No, I have the bracers of defense on, so I'll put them around my like shins and ankle area, and just make them pink.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Enter the end behind everyone else.
So, audience, Remy, Jorg, Fisher, Tobiyashi, and apparently Orlunak. Because no one unsummoned him. So he's been there with you all along.
Why not?
Yeah, he could fit
Yeah.
in there.
You all enter this
He's
inn with everyone just suddenly staring at all of you entering. And you're hearing a few whispers of people wondering what's going on. You, however, hear some child say, Is this the bard? You hear just a woman say, No, it's not him. he's gonna be like him, but it's not him. Oh, okay. Do you know him, mister? Do you know him?
All Dragonborn know each other.
It's a very young child, maybe a human 4 or 5, 6 years old.
Well, I've never had the pleasure of meeting him in person. I know of him, and it is why we have actually came to your village.
Really?
Yes.
Remy is just gonna casually minor illusion the silver-tongued bard bowing.
Yeah, that's him, huh?
Yeah, my friend knows him, or they've met.
You hear a few children just gasping and starting to talk in the inn. And you see the innkeeper arriving. Not sure, maybe half elf. He looks slightly elvish in nature, but mostly human. Well, it's the first time that we had customers come in before the bard actually came. But you're all very welcome. It's actually not the first time that he's come here, but you're all very much invited to listen to his tales. He should be there next morning. Well, depends.
Yeah.
He often says morning, but sometimes he's here more toward noon.
That is morning for some.
You're right.
I look at everyone staring at us. I'm like, audience, I have somewhere to be. I head back to the door and walk out.
I call after him. Just don't steal any salt.
You're just gonna say that out loud?
Yeah,
Yes.
I am. I'm audience.
I just walk away. I don't even look back. Everyone in this town's gonna know me as a salt thief.
Well, actually, Remy and Jorg, because you have good passive perception, you do notice that some people have caught on to what the audience had just said. You see.
I just walk away, grabbing my nose like this. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Audience kind of gives a smile, like, and that was for before, and now I feel somewhat down.
I'm like, I hope my orb kills you. I just want him to burn you.
You hear a joyful reverberation in your ball.
See. You know what? Like about how many people are in this inn?
Fire.
The day is ending. It's probably gonna be a bit busy right now, so I don't know, maybe 30, 35 people.
Okay. So, how would he specifically try to do this? Okay. So Remy is going to walk up to the I guess will be the innkeeper.
Okay.
And he's going to I guess you would have maybe heard this phrase. It's hey, mind if I do something with the crowd?
Okay. The innkeeper says, "Oh well, yeah, sure. Just don't think you can steal the thunder of the bard coming. You'll have something coming to you if you do try this. He is
maybe
pretty
nods.
good."
Maybe nods, but he's going to but especially kind of calling the children's attention because they seem like the most excitable. Remy is going to go find a table, and he's going to pull out his set.
Okay, well, Yeah, of course. If you want to do that. So, which setting are you using?
That is the tough one, but I would say like probably the most impressive one for children, I think would be I think it might be the first setting. That's the one with between celestials and devils.
Okay. So, Remy pulls out this large case. Well, more wide than large. Turns a dial toward what looks like the face of an angel and the face of a demon, a fiend demon. And then opens the case and starts taking different figurines out of this case and just placing them on the table. And every time he does, you see a group of angelic, fiendish, demonic creature just spawning there with always more larger group. Eventually, you see that it looks like an impressive battlefield has been placed with the armies of good versus the armies of evil. Angel versus demon, the epic theme for light versus darkness. And then he starts the battle, and you start seeing demons and angel just rushing at one another, attacking themselves. You even hear the sounds of clashing metal. Some of them are even screaming as they die, but the angel always impressive in their fight, calling on sacred energy, calling on what audience you recognize as most likely divine smites being thrown left and right in this epic fight that lasts and lasts, and Remy just keeps throwing new figurine into the mix as you see them dying and being replaced, and new battalions of these beings just keeps pouring on, and eventually
Also, as a little extra, Remy is like mimicking what is essentially Ride of the Valkyries while this is happening.
Humming and singing to this epic fight. And after, I don't know, how long do you make the fight go? Because it can go on as long as you feed it more figurines, more troops are going to appear. Technically, you could make the fight last hours, but you're mostly going to lose the attention of your group of people listening.
Basically, Remy is going for like the amount of time that basically the same balance that any performer would do, where it's just like go for just long enough to keep attention, but not enough for everyone to get bored of it. Basically end on a high note.
Okay, well, make an insight roll. See how well you manage to make that balance.
Okay, that'll be an 18.
18, all right. Oh, that's pretty well balanced. You probably feel you could have made it better by figuring out when they were about to lose interest. Some of them were about to lose interest, and instead you sort of let the fight go on and finish when the first kid lost interest. So you lost a few kids that were watching this, but mostly feels like you've managed to hold the interest of maybe at least 85% of the people watching this. Which side are you letting win?
So, just because Remy knows kids, like the classic battle of like good versus evil, like that. Yeah.
Teach him a lesson.
Okay. So you're letting the angel win the fight. So you slowly die down the fight, feeding less and less demons to this combat, and feeding more and more of those angelic figurine, which feels like heroes, just smashing several demons at once every time they strike. And eventually, the field goes quiet, and angels have won.
And then Remy just does a little bow at the end as he finally stops playing the music from his beak.
Making it all end exactly as the battle ends. And people are impressed. You get a lot of applause. You even hear one child saying, "Can we give him something? Do we have to keep it everything to the other bard?" You hear the mother go, "All right, you can give him 1 silver." And she hands him a silver, and it's a small human, maybe a 6-year-old girl, but she proudly hands you a silver.
So Remy takes it and basically mimics the exact way that the bard accepted different donations, with a similar curtsy.
You get a few follow-ups with this. Few children coming in and giving you very small amounts. At the end of the representation, you find yourself 5 silver and 12 copper richer.
Like I said, he was doing this mostly for the kids, but he won't say no.
So you all see this. You knew that Remy had bought this, but you'd never actually seen it. That was the first time that you actually saw what that case did.
Fisher was thinking about trying to find somebody to bet on which side was going to win with, but then he didn't want to get accused of trying to rig it.
George just thought it was immoral.
Those poor, innocent, non-living figurines. Did they deserve this?
Yeah, you talking about the figurines or the betting?
The betting.
Okay.
George's fine with the figurines fighting.
Yeah, because it's easy to recognize that this was all illusion spells. The box is most likely enchanted with several sets of minor illusion spells. All right. So, this feels like a perfect moment to end today's stream with an epic fight that the player didn't have to actually do.
Sorry, Remy, you gotta fully roll this one out.
Movements of troops.
Roll
How many
initiative,
D20s
Remy.
you got? That's when he lost the kids. Is when he was starting to pull out the.
Yeah. Oh man. So I'm gonna keep the camera going off screen on you for the next 9 hours as you make this fight, and
Okay, I'll go grab my swords and my scythe.
we're gonna
I guess I
put
gotta
this
set my room
on
on fire.
the Patreon, and we're gonna make people pay $1 to see it. All right, so anything someone would like to add just as we close? Maybe something you feel that we actually absolutely need to take care of before we finish our last game of the year.
I'm looking for a fight club. That's it. That's all you guys need to know.
It's a small village. I mean,
We'll find one.
the fight club is picking a fight with the blacksmith. That's the fight club.
At least a small quest I could go on while I'm waiting.
Luck with that. Nobody talks about Fight Club.
Honestly, yeah.
Well,
Nobody talks about Fight Club.
if you're in a mood
Hard to
for a
find.
fight, it's not gonna happen now. But
Oh yeah, definitely.
I can easily arrange that for next episode. I mean, it's something that I've been meaning to try and do with you, but I was waiting for a larger place than just a village. But hey, if you're really
Yeah,
eager
that-
for it.
Dude you stole the salt from is gonna come find you.
Yeah,
now
he's
the
gonna
audience
come
called you
find
the salt
me.
thief, and he's gonna pick a fight.
Oh no! He's gonna have his gang
You're gonna
of
get your ass beat by a
Yeah.
commoner.
Yeah, you might even say he's still very salty about it.
Yeah.
He can't be. All his salt is gone.
The bounty salters are gonna come after me.
Yeah,
Gotta fight.
that's how they work. Salt bounties. All right, so
Just look.
thank you all for being here tonight. I hope you had an interesting evening. I hope you had a pleasant evening also. Because, you know, sometimes evening can be interesting but not pleasant. But I hope they were both at the same time. Like I said, it's our last game for this year. Next time we're going to see each other, it's going to be 2022. And let's hope.
And hopefully a better one.
Yeah, no, especially since when you say it, it feels like this is the sequel of 2020. You know, it's 2022.
Yeah.
Let's hope it's not, because sequels are never as good as the original, and we really don't want this to.
The original was really bad.
Yeah, so when the original is really bad, try and imagine how it's gonna be if the sequel appears. So.
Just like the
Yeah.
new Matrix. Sorry.
Yeah, but that's the fourth one. So that's
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a bigger fan of Shrek 2 than Shrek 1, but maybe I'm in the minority in that.
Well, there are a few exceptions of a sequel being as good or better than the first one, but it's rare. I mean, you have to admit, it doesn't happen very often.
it's the Empire Strikes Back phenomena.
Oh, even that
They're
is
only good
disputed.
when they go dark and spooky with the next one.
So, yeah, last game of the year, and next game we're going to be in a brand new year, and let's hope it's a good one, a better one, and that we're going to see the end of this virus.
Fingers crossed.
But if not, we're going to be here to entertain you with Dungeons and Dragons. Well, no matter what happens, but
Nevertheless.
nevertheless, exactly. So, thank you all for watching. Like I said, I hope you had a pleasant evening. And as always, if you enjoyed the show, you can support the stream by following us on Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube. You can also support the stream by making a donation, becoming a Patreon, subscribing. That's always nice. And you can always support the stream by simply spreading the word of this channel. And if you want to follow the tradition, apparently we had an excellent rebroadcast last Friday. So if you want to be there for that Friday also, although if you're there for that Friday and you're hearing this, you've already listened to it. So if you did, thank you for being back here this week. If you didn't, well, that's your loss. But I know that you don't feel it. So, as always, stay safe and stay healthy. And Happy New Year. See you next Friday. Friday or Wednesday. Good night.
See you next year.
10A.
See ya.
Good night.